Tomorrow, of course, is your State of the State, and for the first time, you're going to have a Democratic majority. What does that feel like?
It feels good. I'm excited about the State of the State. The last one I gave was 3 years ago, right before the pandemic kind of turned all of our lives upside down. And so it'll be great to be back in the chamber. It'll be great to be there with the first Black speaker in Michigan history and the first woman Senate Majority Leader in the history of Michigan. So it's a historic moment. And I also think we've got a real opportunity in front of us to do a lot of good work. And so while it's a small majority, and we're going to continue to try to find as much common ground in a bipartisan way as we can, I'm very optimistic about what the next few years mean.
If you could tell me, what are your top 3 things on your agenda that you want to accomplish in 2023?
I think first and foremost, I want to give people relief. I know that with inflation, it's been a struggle. And so whether it is repealing the pension, retirement tax, or it is giving working families a tax credit, $3,000 a year, that could make a difference for a lot of people. So giving people relief, making greater investments in education and law enforcement round out the top 3. There's no question we've got a lot of good work to do, and I think for once in a long time, we've got some resources that we can make a real difference, and so I'm excited about that.
Every poll that I look at, no matter if I looked at it yesterday, the day before, your name pops up as a possible presidential contender if President Joe Biden were not to run again. What do you say to that? How do you feel about that?
I think it's strange, to be honest. I'm sure a lot of people read a lot of different things into it. I'm not looking for any national attention. I'm not looking to go anywhere other than Lansing, Michigan for the next 4 years, and to really put our state in a strong position and hand it over to whomever succeeds me. And that's where 100% of my energy is.
But that says a lot about you and the job you're doing, especially because even the last go round, you were a vice presidential contender. So that's got to make you feel good about the job you're doing, that people are looking at you here in Michigan.
Well, with every positive ounce of attention, there's always the other side of the coin. And so I don't get too excited or too down about any of it. I am neither optimistic nor pessimistic. I am determined. And my job in front of me is to lead the state for the next 4 years and hopefully to make it a state where my kids and all the young people in Michigan make their lives here in Michigan. That's my goal.
Beautiful. Can we talk about gun laws for a second? Because even last week, I was in Oxford, where students were demanding changes to our gun laws, as were 6 other communities across the state of Michigan, and I know you know that. And they want specific things. They're calling for universal background checks, safe storage, to red flag laws. Are you going to take up gun laws? Is that going to be something high on your agenda?
I would love to accomplish all 3. Extreme risk protection orders, that's really important. We know that safe storage would be something meaningful to keep guns out of the hands of kids and people who are going to hurt themselves or others. The background checks, these are common sense things. They've gotten done in other states. It is time for us to show that we're serious and we're going to protect communities and kids in school.
I know we saw the gun violence in California, and people are worried about that here. That affected you here. You brought the flags down. What else do you say to people who are fearful right now?
Well, listen, all across the state, all across this country, kids are going through lockdown drills. There will be lockdowns, every day. This is a real threat, and it's only a threat to kids in America. This is a uniquely American problem. The #1 killer of children in this country is gun violence. And that's why I think it's really important for us to get all the hyperbole out of the conversation, to sit with, gun owners and hunters and recreational gun owners, and to say, we're not talking about taking your guns away. We're talking about making this a safer state for everybody.
Are you going to tackle right to work this year?
Well, I know that there's been a lot of focus on making sure that workers can join their voices and negotiate fair wage and time off with their families and health care, for instance. And I've always been a supporter of collective bargaining, and so I don't think that that should surprise anybody. But I do think that that conversation will come in time, and there won't be a surprise where I'm at on it.
Now, before I run out of time, I want to talk about that roundtable. Why is it important for you to be here in Brighton, talking to such a small group of people right before the state of the state and hearing what they have to say really about the bread and butter issues?
Well, I do this work because I love people, and I recognize that you can get caught up in your political bubble and get disengaged from the public that you serve, and I don't want to let that happen. COVID was really hard because we couldn't be together, but I continue to do roundtables, even though they were virtual roundtables, because I do think it's important. It helps me stay focused on what really matters to people, and at the end of the day, that's what any elected official is supposed to be doing.
Were you surprised at all? I know inflation came up, schools came up, medical care came up. When you listen to what they had to say, anything surprise you in that roundtable discussion? Anything touch your heart?
I just think, there was a man here who spoke about moving to Michigan to take care of his family, and he's looking for a job. And so I want to follow up with him because there are a lot of good paying jobs that are available right now, and they're looking for talent. We're also creating opportunities for people to enhance their skill set to get into some of the unfilled jobs right now. So there's a lot of opportunity, and so when I heard that, I kind of perked up because I want to follow up with him because I want him to stay in Michigan and I want him to be able to get a good paying job here.
And then what do you say to Michiganders about not even being able to pay for eggs today? I heard the one woman say eggs, the cost of eggs through the roof. I mean, we talk about that on the news every day. Rent, groceries, gas. Tough for people to make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very honest. I'm not going to tell you I can fix global inflation. I can't. But what I can do is help put some more money in your pocket. And that's why repealing the retirement tax. That's why expanding the working family tax credit. That's $3,000 annually for people who are working hard in this state, 700,000 families. And in those households are half the kids in Michigan live in a household where a parent's working full-time and isn't making enough money to get ahead. That's who really needs the help, and that's why these tax changes are going to be meaningful.